Hello, welcome to this new video on Java series. So today we are going to discuss about Java strings. So I'm just going to make a separate video just on this one. So because we use Java strings a lot in the code, and there are quite a bit different ways you can use strings in Java, and you just want to understand what that mean and in what situation you should use Java strings, and if you can modify a Java string in Java or not actually. So we're just going to go through that kind of stuff today. So one of the thing is, as you know, this string Java string, is not a primitive data type. So a string in Java could be anything. Let's say you want to store something like hello. So this is one of the string in Java, and you know that it's not a primitive data type. It's not one of those int, float, boolean. Those all are primitive data types. But string in Java is an object, so we can do something like string as equal to hello. So we are declaring as a string variable which has this value hello. So this string is an object in Java. So let's try to do few examples here and see how it differs. So one of the things is, there are a couple of ways you can declare strings in Java. Let's say you want to say, you can just say message equal to hello world. So this is one way of declaring a string in Java. So what you're trying to do is you put a string modifier here and declare the variable and put the value here. So this is called string literal, because you're just assigning this value to this variable. And in Java, string literals, or when you declare a string, strings are immutable. Immutable means you cannot modify them once you declare immutable. So strings are immutable, so you cannot change them once you assign a value to them. Strings are immutable, so you cannot modify them actually. So what that mean is like this. So I'm going to, let's print the value of this one, and I will just show you example how what I mean by this one. So here you can just say message equal to, and we just print it here. Okay, so what you did is you just trying to print this message, so just print hello world. Okay, now what I'm going to do is say here is message dot concatenate. So I'm just going to concatenate some another message to this one, hello world and universe. I'm just trying to make up this word here. So what you will think is, oh, I did message, I took this message from here up and I just do concatenate. I mean, just try to join another string with this one. And now you will think, I will say here new message so that we know. So now you might be thinking, because I concatenated this one, so now you should print hello world and universe. But that's not the case. You still print hello world. So it means you try to modify this string, but it was not modified. So what Java does is Java creates another string. When you try to append or something, it creates a new string for this one. So original string is never changed actually. And there's this concept of where the Java stores all this information. So if and Java allocates all of its variables in the heap memory. There's a heap of memory in Java where all you declare new objects and they're created in the heap. But in case of strings, because they're literals, it's called it's a fixed value, so it doesn't change. So what it does is it doesn't create this literal in the heap. It creates it in this something called a literal pool. So there's a separate you can think of it as a separate area where it stores all those literals. So hello world is not stored in the heap, is stored in that small literal area, and it's just for performance regions. And another thing happen is if you declare two variables, so I'm going to declare, let's say, and I'll call it new message actually, and I'm going to copy the exact same value here. So if you noticed, I'm going to declare this variable hello world. I have a new variable hello world. So in that string literal pool, it keeps only this one value, and it has two references. This also references the same value, it also references the same value. So basically it doesn't create two memory locations to store these two separate strings, because their values are same and they are declared in the same way because they are string literals. So they, in the storage somewhere, their value is stored like this, hello world, just once actually. So and this, both this and this variable will refer to this value actually. So that's what string, because it's trying to save you memory. So if you have 10 variables and they have the same value, then the value is only stored once in the string literal. So that way you don't have to really duplicate, you don't need additional memory because you're creating 10 of them actually. So now if let me just, for this example, so I'm going to do is, let's say, so you print the message and you print the new message. So let's say new message here, and let me just clean this out. Well, so they will have the same value, but how do we know that if they're really stored at the same location? So message, if I say message equal to new message, then I'm going to print excuse my typing, both strings have same memory location. So if you know that, if you use this equal to operator on the strings, it compare the location where these variables are stored. It doesn't compare the content. This is the content of the string. This is the content. Although in our case the content is same, but it doesn't compare the content. It compares the location where these variables are stored. So let's see if I want to run it, because both these literals have the same value, so they are stored at the same location. So it should just print this message. Yeah, both strings have same memory location. Now if I change, instead of world I say world1, now these are two different, because these two different strings, so they're stored at two different places now. So now this message should not be printed. So let's run it. Yeah, the message was not printed actually, because they're now in a different location. Okay, another thing we want to clarify is one more thing. Okay, so when we have the literals, they get, although they have different variables, they're stored in the same location. So let's see, just confirm that, yeah, both literals the same location. So there's another way to create a string. So this was one way. This is called literal kind of declaration here. But here, second string, I'm going to say new string. Now, if you use this new keyword, this is basically, that what it does. It creates a new object. Whenever you use this new keyword, it creates the string in the heap of this Java heap, actually, not in the string literal. So now, even this value and these values both are same, but one is in the string literal pool, other is in the heap. So they are now two different objects. So this message should not be printed because they are in a different location, and you can see that it's not printed. So that explains it actually. And in order to so other thing I just want to quickly check is, if you want to really compare if they have the same content, then you don't use the equal operator, because equal operator tells where these strings are stored in the memory location. But if you want to compare the content means this value, what the value they contain. Now if I say, in order to compare the content for the strings, you should always use equals. If you use this equals method, it will compare the content. So now if I do, this will show up here because they are both equal, because I said now, well, not same memory, same content we should really say now, because we are trying to do that, so yeah, if you want to compare the content, then you have to use this equals method. If you want to compare the location, then you should use the equal operator, double equal operator. Okay, so in addition to this, the strings have a lot of other methods you can use, so I'm not going to go. So let's message dot length. If you go to this method, it will return the how many characters are in the string. There are a lot of this. If you want a substring, you can find a substring starting with a starting index, or you can give the starting and ending index. A lot of things are already there. You can find what's the character at this position. Let's say you want to find a character at third position. There are a lot of methods already available on the this strings. So I'm going to just probably comment it out. Other thing I want to just quickly touch is string has this like a splitting. You can split a string. Let's say I have a string hello world and welcome to Java. So you see this, I have a string. I want to split this string, so I say message dot split, this important method. So you can split a string based on, let's say you want to split, and you want to split this string into separate strings, and you want to use this delimiter at the space. I put a space here. So what it's going to do is going to break this into separate. So it's going to break it 1 2 3 4 5 6. And the split method, because once you're splitting a string, it returns you a array of strings. So you can say declare s equal to this. So now this s is an array of strings, and if you really want to st in s, let's see if it works this way actually or not. I'm just trying to do this one. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to print these values of this and let's see if it prints. So let's see. Oh yeah, you can see this hello world and welcome to Java. So it print basically all this split. This is splitter. You can split based on, let's say you want to split based on, let's say I put kind of like a column here. I'm just going to put it a random places column. Let's say I put it here, you see, and then instead of putting a space, you can just put it this one, and I'm going to just clear it and just run it. You see hello world, and so wherever, so you can use this splitter. So this is sometimes there's a lot of helpful display things are helpful, and all the splitters and there are a lot of other functions. You can convert a string to uppercase. You have this to uppercase to lowercase. All those kind of methods are there. You concatenate. So another thing I want to just discuss is, because I told these strings are immutable, you cannot modify the strings. What happens is, sometimes what you want to do is you want to loop through something, and you are trying to append something to the string, but you don't want to do that with this kind of stuff, because let's say if you take like this string, and let's say you are looping, let's say you have something. I'm just going to make up this example, I less than, let's say 10 times, and say I plus plus, and you are saying let's say you say message equal to message, this concatenation symbol, and you just want to do this. What will happen here? Although you're trying to concatenate, but every time you concatenate, it's going to create a new string, and that's not what you really want to really do actually, because it's a performance problem, because every time it creates a new string. So this is still coming from this thing. Okay, let me get rid of this one and clean this one. Yeah, so it just printed this string. Remember, it didn't modify. You cannot modify the string actually. So let me go back here. So what you should do, if you really want to have kind of append, like sometimes you go through a loop and you try to append a lot of values into a string actually. So what you should do is you should use this class called Stringbuilder. I call it Stringbuilder. So you declare a class like a Stringbuilder, and then what you can do here is instead of appending it, so you say sb dot append, and you can append let's say I, and I don't know, if you want to append, let's say little space after that, that's fine, and then you can print here sb dot to string. So if you see this loop is, so yeah, so if you see it printed 0 1 2 3 because we loop through and be appending. So my point is, when you want to append something to a string and keep appending, then you should not use this string variable here, because this is costly operation. You should use string builder in order to get your appended or final string. And after that, once you have appended everything, you can use dot to string and it will convert everything into a string actually. So this is for if you want to just modify string. This is the way to modify a string, and this is not, you can't modify a literal actually, so you have to keep in that mind. So I think with that we can just finish up this video for today. So please consider to subscribe to the channel and like this video. Thank you, and see you in the next video.